Hi, it's Courtney and welcome back. Today I'm making a card for the MFT's Sketch Challenge. When I saw this week's challenge, I immediately thought of making some sort of a wreath. So I'm using the Rustic Wildflowers and the More Rustic Wildflowers stamp sets. I'm also using a sentiment from the Splendid Swan stamp set. These sets are layering stamp sets, so most of the stamps have a little notch on the top, making it easy to line up each layer as well as the die cuts. I'm using several different colors of Simon Says Stamp ink, and I'm stamping on 80-pound Neenah Solar White cardstock. Once my images were stamped out, I went ahead and die cut those. Then I took another piece of the Neenah Solar white cardstock and cut that down to 5 1/4 by 4, and I scored at every inch vertically. I took Simon Says Stamp Fog ink and lightly swiped that across the cardstock, making it kind of look like wood grain, in this case birch. I took a circle die and just lightly traced that with a pencil just to kind of make myself a guide for when I built the wreath. I laid out all of my images before actually adhering them down just to kind of see how I was going to set the wreath up. Then I began gluing down my images. Once I had my placement down, I removed all my flowers and kind of kept the leaves where I was going to want them. I knew they'd be closest to the bottom. And I used Tombow Mono multi-glue to glue them down directly to the cardstock. Then I started with my smallest flower and also used the wet glue for those as well. Once those were down, I took my medium-sized flower and I used Scotch foam tape to adhere those down. To create even more dimension for my largest flowers, I added 2 layers of the same Scotch foam tape and adhered that to my wreath as well. Once my wreath was assembled, I just went through my scraps and found a light purple cardstock that I decided to use for the sentiment strip. I took the sentiment from the Splendid Swan stamp set and white heat embossed that. Once my sentiment was embossed, I went ahead and trimmed that down to the same width as my card base. In order to pop that up, I also used the Scotch foam tape. I put 2 layers on each end and placed the same amount in the middle as well, where the middle of the wreath would be. Once everything was assembled, I went ahead and stuck that onto an A2 top folding note card and added just a little bit of Spectrum Noir sparkle to some of those flowers. And that was it. Thanks so much for stopping by.